Hello friends, this is the second part of AS9. In this part we will cover the questions. So now let us start with the practice manual questions of Accounting Standard 9. Write a short note on the effects of uncertainties on revenue recognition. So what are the effects of uncertainty on revenue recognition? As per para 9 of Accounting Standard 9 on revenue recognition, it deals with the effect of uncertainty on revenue recognition. The para states that first, recognition of revenue requires that the revenue is measurable and at the time of sale or at the time of rendering of service, it would not be unreasonable to expect the ultimate collection. So, at the time of sale or at the time of provision of service, it should not be unreasonable to expect ultimate collection of the revenue and the revenue is measurable. Where the ability to assess the ultimate collection with a reasonable certainty is lacking at the time of raising any claim, example for escalation of price or exports incentive or interest, revenue recognition is postponed to the extent of uncertainty involved. Also, in such cases, it may be appropriate to recognize revenue only when it is reasonably certain that the ultimate collection will be made. Where there is no uncertainty to ultimate collection, revenue is recognized at the time of sale or of rendering services, even though payments are made by installment. So, even if payments are made by installment, but revenue can be recognized and it's certainly certain to receive the consideration, then revenue can be recognized even if its payment is received in installment. When the uncertainty relating to collectibility arise subsequent to the time of sale, that is after recording the sale, subsequently uncertainty or collectibility arises, it will be more appropriate to make a separate provision to reflect the uncertainty rather than to adjust the amount of revenue originally recorded. All these points we have already covered in the concept part, hence I am going a little bit forward or a little bit at fast during these questions. An essential criteria for recognition of revenue is that the consideration receivable for the sale of goods or rendering of services or from use by other enterprise resources, that is interest, royalty and dividend, is reasonably determined. So the amount should be reasonably determined. When such consideration is not determinable within reasonable limit, the recognition of revenue is postponed. Similarly, the last point is when recognition of revenue is postponed due to the effect of uncertainty, it is considered as revenue of the period in which it is properly recognized. So when due to effect of uncertainty revenue recognition is postponed, it will be recognized only when the period in which the revenue is properly recognized. So it will pertain to that period only. Let's move on to the next question. SM company has taken a transit insurance policy. Suddenly in the year 1617, the percentage of accident has gone up to 7% and the company wants to recognize insurance claim as revenue in 1617 in accordance with the relevant accounting standard. Do you agree? Explain in brief as per the relevant accounting standard. So in this case, as we can see, the company has taken a transit insurance policy, that is in case the goods are in transit, that is while from during transportation, if any loss occurs, the for that to cover that loss, the company has taken an insurance. And suddenly in the current year, the accident has gone up to percentage of accident has gone up to 7%. Now it directly wants to recognize the insurance claim as revenue. Can it do so? So when to recognize revenue? Revenue recognition is mainly concerned with the timing of recognition of revenue in the P&L. When there is no uncertainty as to ultimate collection, revenue is recognized at the time of sale of rendering of services, as the case may be, even though payments are made by installment. The amount of revenue is usually determined by the agreement between the parties to the transaction. It may be appropriate to recognize revenue only when there is reasonable certain that the ultimate collection will be made. In this case, SM company wants to suddenly recognize insurance claim because it has increased over the previous year. but there are uncertainties involved in the settlement of claim. So merely taking a policy won't guarantee settlement of claim, because you have to prove several things, and it will be based on the actuary whether the actual loss is to be covered fully or partially. So the claim does not seem to be in course of ordinary course of business. Also, this is not an activity under ordinary course of business. AS9 is applicable only for the activities which are in the course of ordinary business. So only sale from goods or from service, and interest, royalty and dividend are to be recognized. So claim is not a part of it, and hence it is not an ordinary activity. Hence SM company is not advised to recognize insurance claim as revenue. So it cannot do so. Now moving forward to question number 32. Bottom Limited entered into a sale deed for its immovable property before the end of the year, but registration was done with the registrar subsequent to the balance sheet date. But before finalization, is it possible to recognize the sale and the gain at the balance sheet date? Give your view with reasons. So a sale was entered into for immovable property before the end of the year, but meanwhile the registration was done, the year ended, and finally the registration was done in subsequent, that is the next balance sheet period only. But before finalization of the accounts, can we recognize this sale and gain at the balance sheet date? You have to answer it with reasons. So the answer is yes. Both the gain and the sale should be recognized. One second. Should be recognized in accordance with Accounting Standard 9 at the balance sheet date, and what was pending was merely a formality to register the deed. So the sale was actually completed, but merely a formality to do the registration of deed was pending. So it is clear that significant risk and rewards of ownership had passed before the balance sheet date. So it can be considered and since it is clear that only formality was remaining, so the significant risk and rewards associated with immovable property ownership has already been passed before the balance sheet date. Further, the registration post the balance sheet date confirms the condition of sale at the balance sheet date as per AS4. So AS4, which deals with events occurring after the balance sheet date, also supports this scenario, that is after balance sheet date but before date of approval of financial statement by the approving authority. This transaction is completed, and the condition of such transaction was existing at the date of balance sheet. So according to AS4 and according to AS9, this both sales and gain can be recognized. Now moving further to the next question, question 33. Victory Limited purchased goods on credit from Lucky Limited for rupees 250 crore for export. The export order was cancelled. Victory Limited decided to sell the same goods in the local market with a price discount. Lucky Limited was requested to offer a discount price of 15%. The chief accountant of Lucky Limited wants to adjust the sales figure to the extent of discount requested by Victory Limited. Discuss whether this treatment is justified. So in this case, earlier the sale was conducted because the goods were to be sold in the export. The goods were sold for export. But now the export order is cancelled, and now the goods have to be sold in the local market. And as you know, the price would have more in export. So at in local market, you won't be able to earn that much. So this company wants to take a discount, price discount of 15%. And now the chief accountant of Lucky Limited, he wants to adjust the sale figure to the extent of discount. That is, he want to minus the discount. Can he do so? So let us see the answer first. Lucky Limited had sold goods to Victory Limited on credit worth for rupees 250 crore, and the sale was completed in all respects. So the sale, the goods were sold on credit basis worth rupees 250 crore, that is the amount was determinable, and also the sale was complete in all respects. Victory Limited decision to sell the same in the domestic market at a discount does not affect the amount recorded as sales by Lucky Limited. So they change their thinking that they want to sell the goods in the domestic market and not in the export, this does not affect the amount recorded as sale by the Lucky Limited. The price discount of 15 offered by Lucky after the request of Victory was not in nature of discount given during the ordinary course of trade, because otherwise the same would have been given at the time of sale itself. Because if we can treat this discount as in ordinary course of business, we tend to give discount at the time of sale only. We don't give discount after completion of sales. Okay, so it is not a discount in ordinary course of business. So now, as far as Lucky Limited is concerned, there appears to be uncertainty relating to the collectability of debt. So now there is a doubt actually regarding the collectability of debt, that the other party, that is Victory, won't pay full 250 crore, and they will first deduct 15% and then they will pay. That is, it is a like a bad debt for them which has arisen subsequent to the sale thereof. It would be appropriate to make a separate provision to reflect the uncertainty relating to the collectability rather than to adjust the amount of revenue originally recorded. So since we have already discussed this point in concept part also, so it should not deduct such discount from the sales revenue, means it should not alter sales amount originally recorded, but it can make a separate provision to reflect the uncertainty. Therefore such discount should be written off to the P&L account and not shown as a deduction from the sales figure. Now let us move on to the next question. Golden Eagle Limited has been successfully jewelers for the past 100 years, and the sales are against cash only. So the sale is taking on the basis of cash. The company diversified into apparels. A young senior executive was put in charge of apparels business, and the sales increased 5 times. So earlier the company was dealing in jewelers, and now they have diversified into apparels, clothing industry, and it has increased the sales the 5 times. One of the condition for sale is that dealer can return the unsold stocks within 1 month of the end of season. Sales return for the year was 25% of the sales. Suggest a suitable revenue recognition policy with reference to AS9. So there are two businesses on hand. One is of jewelry business, which deals in only cash, on cash basis, and the other one is into clothing line, that is apparels, and sales are increased because the goods are sold on 1 month return basis, and also the sales return for that particular year are 25%. So we have to suggest a suitable revenue recognition policy. As per accounting standard 9, revenue recognition is mainly concerned with the timing of recognizing the revenue in the statement of P&L. The amount of revenue arising on transaction is usually determined by the agreement between the parties involved in the transaction. When uncertainties exist regarding the determination of the amount or its associated cost, these uncertainties may influence the timing of revenue recognition. So the effect of uncertainty: in case of jewelry business, the company is selling for cash and returns are negligible, since goods are jewelry is sold on cash basis, so their returns are negligible. Hence, the revenue can be recognized on sales. So, the revenue can be recognized immediately when the sale has occurred. On the other hand, in case of apparels industry, the dealer have the right to return the unsold goods within 1 month from the end of season. In this case, the company is bearing risk of sales return. So here there is a risk of sales return, that the customer may come up and return the goods. Therefore, the company should not recognize the revenue to the extent of 25% of its sales. So since there are 25% sales return in the previous year, then the company should follow this to make 25% provision of sales return. The company may disclose suitable revenue recognition policy in its financial statement separately for both jewelry and apparel business. Since the jewelry and apparel business are very diversified and both are accounted for, and revenue recognition policy, uh, revenue method and conditions are different for both such business, then its revenue recognition policy will also be different, and it must be disclosed separately in the financial statement. Next question is: Prima Limited sold goods worth rupees 50,000 to Messrs Y and Company. Messrs Y and Company asked for a discount of rupees 8,000, which was agreed by Prima Limited. The sale was effected and goods were dispatched. After receiving goods worth rupees 7,000, after receiving goods worth rupees 7,000 were found defective and which were returned immediately, they made the payment of rupees 35,000 to Prima Limited. Ac- Accountant booked the sales for rupees 35,000. Please discuss. So in this case, we can see that the goods were sold for rupees 50,000 and discount was of 8,000, and goods worth rupees 7,000 are were since they were defective, they were returned immediately. And now the other party has made payment of 35,000. Similarly, the accountant has also booked the sales for 35,000. Is it correct? So how this 35,000 figure came? It's from sale of 50,000 minus the discount amount minus the sales return, which gives us 35. So we have to say, is it correct or not? So as per para 4.1 of AS9, revenue recognition, revenue is the gross inflow of cash, receivables and other consideration arising in the course of ordinary activities of the enterprise from the sale of goods or from rendering of services or from interest, royalty or dividend. In the given case, Prima Limited should record the sales at the gross value. So here the keyword is gross inflow of cash receivable, that is 50,000. The discount of rupees 8,000 in the price and the goods returned worth rupees 7,000 are to be adjusted by making suitable provisions. And you don't have to go for the net amount. You can't adjust these figures from the sales amount. Prime Limited might have sent the credit note of rupees 15,000. 15, how come 15? 8 plus 8 for the discount and 7 for the goods return to Y Limited to account for these adjustment. The contention of the accountant to book the sales for 35,000 is not correct. So now let us look into the last question of practice manual, which is a practical question. Moon Limited entered into sale agreement with Sun Limited for sale of goods for rupees 8 lakhs at a profit of 20% on cost. The sale transaction took place on 1st of Feb 2016. On the same day, Sun Limited entered into another agreement with Moon Limited to resell the same goods at rupees 10 lakh 80,000 on 1st of August 2016. State the treatment of this transaction in the financial statements of Moon Limited as on 31st March 2014. The predetermined, so here you can correct first the dates because the date should be 2016. There is a printing mistake in this question. You have to consider it 31st March 2016. The predetermined reselling price covers the holding cost of Sun Limited. Give the journal entries as on 31st March 2016 in the books of Moon Limited. So here you can see that it is a case of sale and repurchase. Since Moon Limited entered into agreement with Sun Limited for sale of goods, and similarly on the same day Sun Limited entered into another agreement with Moon Limited to resell the same goods at 10.80 lakhs. So how can we account this transaction? We have to look into this. First of all, we have already learned in accounting standard 9 that in such cases we don't have to recognize the revenue, but we have to treat it as a financing operation. So let us look into the answer. In the given case, Moon Limited concurrently agreed to repurchase the same goods from Sun Limited on 1st of Feb 2016. Also, the reselling price is determined and covers the purchasing and holding cost of Sun Limited. As we can see that reselling price is much more. That is, the selling price was of 8 lakhs and the reselling price is 10.80 lakhs. So here the question mentions that the predetermined reselling price covers the holding cost as well as the purchasing as well as holding cost. So hence the transaction between Moon Limited and Sun Limited as on 1st of Feb 2016 should be recognized as financing rather than a sale consideration. So the resulting cash flow of 9.60 lakhs. How come 9.60 lakhs? This 8 lakhs plus the at a profit of 20% on cost. So 8 plus 20% on cost will come to 9.60 lakh. This has to be resulting cash flow has to be received cannot be regarded as revenue under accounting standard 9. So we will look into the general entries which Moon Limited is required to pass on 1st of Feb, that is on the date in which he is entering into this agreement. He will debit the bank account with 9.60 lakhs and will credit it as an advance from Sun Limited, being advance received from Sun Limited amounting 8 lakhs plus 20% of 8 lakhs, that is 9.60 lakh under the sale and lease agreement. Also, the balance of Sun Limited account will be disclosed as an advance under the heading liability in the balance sheet of Moon Limited, because it is a financing activity and not a mere normal sale transaction. So, on 31st March 2014, because a closing year end is coming in between these transactions from 1st of Feb till 1st of August. So it will be the balance charges will be treated as a financing charges. So financing charges will be 0.40. How come 0.40? 10 lakh 80,000 was the sale agreement repurchase price minus the 9.60, which is the our advance. So this we have to subtract it, and this will be, so as per AS9, whenever there is such a case where of a repurchase, sale and repurchase, the transaction would be regarded as a financing transaction and not a sales transaction, and the difference between the repurchase price and the actual price, that is repurchase price and the actual price, would be regarded as the interest cost for the buyer. So the finance charges are nothing other than the interest charges, and that too it will be 1.2 lakhs, but it will be, the finance charge will only be for 2 months. How 2 months? Because the transaction is done on 1st of Feb. So from 1st of Feb, entire Feb plus entire March, since we are closing on March, these 2 months will be considered, and it will be divided by 6 months, because the total duration of this agreement is 6 months. See, since the sale, the another agreement to resell the same goods at 10.80 lakhs is on 1st of August. So from 1st of Feb till 1st of August there are 6 months. So for 2 months interest, that is financial charges, will be accounted for, and hence it is multiplied by 2 by 6, and thus this financial charges will now be transferred to the P&L account. So P&L account debit to financing charges account 0.40. So by this we have completed the practice manual sums of accounting standard 9. Now we will look into the study material questions of accounting standard 9. Straight into the study material questions, that is illustrations. The first one is, the stage of production and sale of a producer are as follows, all in rupees. Stages are given, the activity is given, cost to date and the net realizable value of all activities are given. Stages are raw material WIP1, WIP2, fixed product, ready for sale, sale agreed and delivered. So state and explain the stage at which you think revenue will be recognized, and how much would be the gross profit and net profit of on a unit of this product. So according to accounting standard 9, sale will be recognized only when two conditions are satisfied. And what are these two conditions? The sale value is fixed and is determinable, and the property of good is transferred to the customer. That is, all risk and rewards associated with ownership of such good are transferred, and the revenue, that is the consideration, is fixed and is determinable. Both these conditions are satisfied only at stage F. What is stage F? Sale agreed. So ready for sale is not the product, because only when the sale is agreed, then only revenue can be recognized. When sales are agreed upon at a price and goods are allocated for delivery purpose. So the gross profit will be determined at stage E, just the stage before the recognition of revenue, that is here till the ready for sale stage will be considered as the net gross profit stage. So how will it be determined? When the goods are ready for sale after all necessary process for production are over, that is the good is ready for being sale. So that will be 13,000. How come 30,000? 30 minus 17. So the net realizable value at this stage is 30 minus the ready for sale stage cost to date till ready for sale, that is 17,000. So 30 minus 17 will give you 13,000 gross profit, and the net profit will be determined at stage G. G means after the stage where sales will be recognized. So at G stage, that is delivered, then will be the net profit will be recognized. So 30 minus 18 will give you 12,000 of net profit when goods are delivered and payment becomes. So this was a simple question. Let's look into the next question. A public sector company is trading gold in India for its customer. After purchasing gold for the price of gold, after purchasing gold, the price of the gold is fixed within 120 days. So after making the purchase or selling the gold, after that within 120 days, the sale price is determined according to the regulation of Indian bullion market by the customer. At the close of the year, price of some gold was not fixed on 31st March 2017. So even on the year end, some prices were not determined. The details are given below. Quantity of gold was 10,000 TT bars. Gold rates as on March 2017 were is 275 per TT bar. Gold rate was fixed on June 26, 2017 before the finalization of the account. So after the year end, but before the finalization of account, the gold price was approved because it is fixed within 120 days. So it is 273. So we have to calculate the amount of inventory regarding the 10,000 TT bars to be booked in the company's account for the year ended 31st March 2017. So let us look into the solution. We need to refer accounting standard 4 along with accounting standard 9, because here also it's the event occurring after the balance sheet date and before finalization of account. So AS4 is also applicable, plus accounting standard 9 is also applicable, since we have to recognize the revenue. Since gold is an item which has a ready market, hence they should be valued at the market price. So as an event occurring after the balance sheet date, the price of the gold is fixed at 273 per TT bar. Gold will be valued at that rate. So the price which was fixed by the before finalization of account, that is 273, and not the price as on the balance sheet date. 273 per TT bar will be the rate at which the inventory will be recorded. The board of directors decided on 31st March 2017 to increase the sale price of certain items retrospectively from 1st of January 2017. In view of this price revision with effect from 1st of January 2017, the company has to receive 15 lakhs from the customer in respect of sales made from 1st of January till 31st March of 2017. Accountant cannot make up his mind whether to include 15 lakh in sales for 2016-17 advice. So in this case, the board has decided to increase the sale price, that too retrospectively. So just give it the plain thinking, and according to your common sense, do any customer will pay after taking the delivery of goods, that too for 3 long months, that you have to pay additional price because the price of the particular product is increased? No customer would be ready to pay such price. So how can the company decide to receive the 15 lakh from its customer in respect of sales from 1st January 2017 to 31st March 2017? So retrospectively, this change cannot be made. Obviously it can be made from the current period, that is, it can be made prospectively, but retrospectively it is not possible. So let us look into the question answer first. Price revision was affected during the current accounting period 16-17. As a result, the company stands to receive 15 lakh from the customers in respect of sales from that period. If the company is able to assess the ultimate collection with reasonable certainty, then the additional revenue arising out of said price revision may be recognized. Wide para 10 of AS9. So in this question also they have mentioned that if the ultimate collection is reasonable with certainty, only then you can recognize the revenue, but it's very rare that the customer will pay for such thing even after so many time. So moving further to next illustration, Y Limited used certain resources of X Limited. In return, X Limited received rupees 10 lakh and rupees 15 lakh as interest and royalty respectively from Y Limited during the year 1617. You are required to state whether and on what basis these revenue are to be recognized by X Limited. So Y is giving certain resources, Y is using certain resources of X, and he is paying 10 lakhs and 15 lakhs as interest and royalty. So how can this be recognized? We have already studied this in the concept part. Revenue arising from the use by others of enterprise resources yielding interest, royalties and dividends should be recognized only when no significant uncertainty as to measurability or collectability exists. These revenue are to be recognized on following basis: interest on the time proportion basis taking into account amount outstanding and the rate applicable, and royalty on accrual basis according to the relevant agreement. So now moving on to the next question. A company lodged with railways, a claim lodged with the railways in March 2015 for a loss of good of rupees 2 lakh had been passed for the payment in March 2017 for rupees 1 lakh 50,000. So the loss of good was of 2 lakh, and now the payment has been passed for rupees 1 lakh 50,000. No entry was passed in the books of the company when the claim was lodged. Advise P Limited about the treatment following of the following in the final statement of accounts year ended 31st March 2017. So prudence suggests non-consideration of claim as an asset in anticipation. So prudence suggests that non-consideration of claim is an asset in anticipation. So receipts of claim is generally recognized on cash basis. So any receipt on due to claim are recognized on cash basis. That is as and when they are actually received. As per para 9.2 of Accounting Standard 9, revenue recognition states that where the ability to assess the ultimate collection with reasonable uncertainty is lacking at the time of raising any claim, revenue recognized is postponed to the extent of uncertainty involved. Also, as per para 9.5 of Accounting Standard 9, it states that when recognition of revenue is postponed due to effect of uncertainty, it is considered as revenue for the period in which it is properly recognized. In this case, it may be assumed that the collectability of claim was not certain in the earlier period. This is supposed to from the fact that only 1 lakh 50,000 were collectible against the claim of 2 lakhs. So, however, the claim was of 2 lakhs, only 1.5 lakh are collectible. So, this transaction cannot be taken as a prior period item. So, in the light of revised Accounting Standard 5, it will not be treated as an extraordinary item. However, as per para 12 of Accounting Standard 5 revised, it says that when item of income or expense within profit or loss from ordinary activities are of such size, nature, or incidents that their disclosure is relevant to explain the performance of the enterprise for the period, the nature and amount of such an item should be recognized separately. Accordingly, the nature and amount of this item should be recognized or disclosed separately as per para 12 of Accounting Standard 5. So, you can mark this question as important because in this question we are dealing with Accounting Standard 9 as well as Accounting Standard 5. So, you can read it again. Let's move on to the next question. CSL Limited sells agricultural products to dealer. One of the condition of sale is that the interest is payable at the rate of 2% per month for the delayed payment. Percentage of interest recovery is only 10% on such overdue outstanding due to various reasons. During the year 1617, the company wants to recognize the entire interest receivable. Do you agree? So, a company is selling some products and it says that it has mentioned that interest will be chargeable at the rate of 2% per annum for delayed payment. But even if payments are delayed, they rarely charge. They are rarely able to charge the interest at the rate of 2% per annum because the percentage of interest recovery is only 10% on such overdue. But during the year 1617, so their past experience is such rare case of recovery of interest, but in the present year they want to recognize entire interest receivable. So can they do so? So as per para 9.2 Accounting Standard 9, on AS recognition where the ability to assess the ultimate collection with reasonable certainty is lacking at the time of raising any claim, example, escalation of price, export incentive, or interest, etc., such revenue recognition is postponed to the extent of uncertainty involved. In case, it may be appropriate to recognize revenue only when it is reasonably certain that the ultimate collection will be made. When there is no uncertainty to the ultimate claim, revenue is recognized at the time of sale or of rendering of services, even though payments are made by installment. All these things we have already studied in our past question as well as in the concepts video part. Thus, SCL Limited cannot recognize the interest amount unless the company actually receives it. 10% rate of recovery on overdue outstanding is also an estimate and it is not certain. Hence, the company is advised to recognize interest receivable only on receipt basis. So, there is no actual basis or there is no certain basis on which this they can recognize whether the interest will be receivable or not. So they can recognize this interest receivable only on the receipt basis. That is, as and when they receive the claim, they can mention it or recognize it. Moving forward to the last question for accounting standard 9. So A Limited has sold its building for rupees 50 lakhs to B Limited and has also given the possession to B Limited. The book value of the building is rupees 30 lakhs. As on 31st March 2017, the documentation and the legal formalities are pending. The company has not recorded the sale and has shown the amount received as advance. So, do you agree with this statement? So, in this case, A Limited sold building to B Limited for rupees 50 lakh and they have also given the possession. So, here they have already given the possession, but however, the book value is 30 lakhs and as on 31st March, the documentation and legal formalities are pending. So, and they have recorded this and they have not recorded this transaction as sale, but they have just mentioned the amount received as advance. So, is it correct? The economic reality and the substance of transaction is that the rights and beneficial interest in the property has been transferred, although legal title has not been transferred. So as we can see in this case that since A Limited has already given the possession to B Limited and only documentation and legal formalities are pending, so economic reality and substance of the transaction is that the rights and beneficial interest is already transferred, only legal title is not transferred. So A Limited should record the sale and recognize the profit of rupees 20 lakh in its P&L and the building should be eliminated from the balance sheet. So it should not disclose it in its asset side and it should be eliminated from its balance sheet. So by this we have completed the entire accounting standard 9. I hope you all are liking this series and this video was of some help to you in solving your accounting standard 9 questions. So see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself and your family. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. This is me, Priyanka Purohit, signing off.